Welcome to Fort Hope. Formerly a museum of what a fort looked like back in the 1800s, it's now one of humanity's last few refuges against the devil worm invasion, which has caused zombies as well as other various monsters. This is Chandra.
Come on over. I don't bite. Much.
Oh, promises, Chandra. Over here we have our EMT.
Can't help you right now. Try later.
Yes, sir. If you'd like to change your clothes, head on into the dressing room. And if you'd like to create a deck of cards to help you out in your trials, well, just visit the intel table.
You want to know what I know? Sure you do.
And now, why don't we go outside to the shooting range, and I can tell you about my control setup. But you know, before we do that, I think there's one thing you should probably know. If you are planning on playing Back 4 Blood, or if you are just interested to see more videos about it, there's a YouTuber who you really need to know about. His name is Swing Point, that's P-O-Y-N-T, and I will put a link to his Back 4 Blood playlist as the first link in the description, even before I put the playlist for my playthrough of this game. Swing Point is that good, you really need to watch his stuff if you want to know about Back 4 Blood.
Yep, got him. Yeah, looks like we lost him. Anymore.
Another thing that you should probably know is that I'm going to cover Back 4 Blood things in the order that I think a new player would need to know about them, and that means controls first, then a deck that I recommend for getting through the veteran difficulty with bots second, and third and last, the part that I think new players care the least about, I'm going to tell you about my opinions about how Back 4 Blood compares with Left 4 Dead 2. However, if none of that appeals to you, I would encourage you to stop this video, go to the second link in the description, which will be the playlist of my Back 4 Blood playthrough, and go to the second video, which will take you right into the action, right into Act 1, Map 1, right into the gameplay. If all you want is gameplay, skip this video and go right to the first gameplay video, which will be the second video in that playlist that is the second link in the video description. Alright, let's go do some controls first. Then we'll talk about decks, and finally I'll get on the rant about how this game compares with Left 4 Dead 2. Let me just grab a couple things here. We'll need a throwable of some sort. This pistol is our secondary weapon. Let me grab a better primary weapon, probably my favorite, the AA-12. Good deal. And I think we have what we need here. So, there are some pretty easy basics. I have my left mouse button configured as fire. Easy enough, right? And I have my right mouse button configured as hold to aim down sights. Now in the controls, you can configure that as press to aim down sights, press again to not aim down sights, but I prefer hold to aim down sights, as I find it allows me to move more fluidly between aim down sight and hip fire. I have a Ninox Venator mouse, and consequently it has two shoulder buttons. One of those shoulder buttons your thumb rests naturally on when you claw grip the mouse. That button is bash or melee attack. Then there's another shoulder button that you have to reach your thumb a little bit forward to press. That button is change weapons. I've arranged my movement keys to be more in line with what I usually use for MechWarrior Online and Left 4 Dead 2, which is to say that the D key is my forward key, the S key is my strafe left, and the F key is my strafe right. And if I want to go backwards, I have to move my middle finger downwards on the keyboard to C. Now I have this arrangement because when I rest my left hand on the keyboard, my left index finger naturally sits on the F key and feels the little stud on the keyboard. And this way, all my controls that I want to use commonly for movement, well, my fingers are already right on top of them. So it leads to a very fluid and very easy, quick way to press your movement keys. In addition, I have sprint on A, so I can hold down A and D at the same time to sprint. Again, very quick and easy. The button is right there under my finger. So I don't have to move my fingers anywhere, it's just there. And because my thumb naturally rests on the spacebar, I have jump on the spacebar. This arrangement is also nice because holding down A to sprint, D to move forward, and spacebar to jump is all very fluid and easy. One quick difference you may want to know about Back 4 Blood is that in Left 4 Dead you couldn't really easily climb on things, but in Back 4 Blood if you just jump and push forward, you will climb onto things. Very nice. Makes getting over obstacles a lot easier. It's something I think you'll come to appreciate about this game. The last thing I want to cover is my mouse wheel. If I push my mouse wheel away from me or scroll up, I'll pull out my throwable item. This makes switching to my throwable item very, very easy.
Take this!
And if I pull towards me on the mouse wheel or scroll down, the ping feature is activated where I'm pinging the thing that my crosshair is on.
Look!
Other than that, my controls are pretty much the default. And, by the way, if you want to configure your controls, it's super easy. Just hit the escape key, go to options, and here they all are, mouse and keyboard, etc., etc., etc. One little thing you may want to know is I've set my sensitivity to 40 because that's what's correct for my Ninox Venator in blue or 800 DPI mode, and my aim down sights low zoom sensitivity multiplier is 0.8, meaning that I actually move a little bit slower on the mouse when I'm aiming down the sights. This helps me with precision and shooting the bright red weak spots of the mutated Ridden. And that's really it. That's all I wanted to tell you about controls. And really, what I want to tell you about controls is not that you should use my control setup, because my control setup might not be right for you. Rather, I wanted to give you an idea about what kind of controls you might want to put on the most easily accessible buttons or keys on your keyboard. And I just wanted to encourage you to customize your controls because usually the stock controls are sort of lowest common denominator. So go ahead and customize your controls, experiment with it. It's not a bad thing. You shouldn't feel welded to the controls that the game comes with. All right. Let's go back inside, and we can talk about the deck that I recommend people use to try and get themselves through Veteran while they're using the bots.
A cleaner's only as good as their gear.
Amen, brother. A deck is an interesting mechanic in Back 4 Blood because your deck of cards basically allows you to modify your character, modify your abilities, buff your weapons, and generally customize the way that things play to better suit your gameplay style or your preferences. If you want to check out your decks, of course you can go to the deck table and talk to the guy at the deck table, but you can also simply press the tab key and then choose decks. I'm going to talk about a deck called H.R. Killman. The H.R. Killman deck is a deck that I've been using for a while, and I like it quite a bit. The H.R. Killman deck is designed to really be a damage dealer deck first and foremost, and it's designed to be used with a card called 2 is 1 and 1 is none that allows you to carry 2 primary weapons. In this case, I recommend you carry an SMG because it has abundant ammo, and an auto shotgun because it excels at chopping down the special Ridden by doing large amounts of damage. Also, this deck is really designed to allow you to take care of yourself first. And that means a lot of different things, but a lot of it has to do with damage dealing, just killing things before they can get to you. None of the common ridden and only a few of the mutated ridden have the ability to do damage from a distance. So if you can kill them before they get within, say, 5 feet, then they won't have any ability to do damage to you. This deck does not have a lot of mobility cards because, although the mobility meta is actually a strong one in Back 4 Blood, this deck is not designed for that. Likewise, the healer meta is actually quite strong in Back 4 Blood as well, but this deck does not have a lot of healer cards because H.R. Killman is a damage dealer, not a healer. So let's just go over the cards as fast as possible, and if you really want a deeper dive into this deck, leave me a comment down below, and I'll talk about it some more, but I'm just going to go over these as fast as I can. The first card is Copper Scavenger. This puts a little outline around nearby piles of copper and causes more copper to spawn. Economy is actually really important in this game because economy allows you to buy game buffing upgrades, like buying yourself more medkit slots so you can carry multiple medkits, like buying yourself more throwable slots so you can carry more pipe bombs or grenades. So economy is important, and in fact there are more economy cards in here than you might think because economy really does win games. 2 is 1 and 1 is none. This card, as I said before, allows you to carry 2 primary weapons, and along with the Admin Reload card a little bit further down in the deck, this will massively increase your damage output. This card is really amazing, and I think everyone understands that this is possibly the best card in the game, allowing you to carry 2 big guns at admittedly a small cost of 25% swap speed, which can be neutralized by other cards later on in the deck, as we'll see. The third card is Hazard Pay. This gives you 250 extra copper while you are still in the safe room at the beginning of the level. You may not always want this. For instance, you may want Bounty Hunter, a card that we'll see in a minute, but this is always a nice one because it just gives you more money while you're still in the safe room. You can then go to the vendor box and spend that money to buy whatever it is you need, whether that's health, or more grenades, or more ammo, or an upgrade for your gun. And some people will say, well, why don't you use a team card that allows you to give your whole team money, like Share the Wealth? Well, the answer is that this deck is intended for playing with bots, and bots rarely share their copper. If you were playing with human players, people you knew, not randos, who intended to share their copper with you, I would absolutely recommend Share the Wealth over Hazard Pay. But if you're paying with bots, guess what? You need to be a money grubber for your own self first and worry about the bots second. Weaponsmith. This allows you to pay a 400 copper fee and remove the attachments that are currently on your gun and swap those attachments on and off that particular gun that you've unlocked as much as you want. Attachments are super powerful in this game. I would rather have a green gun, which is the slightly upgraded base version of the gun, along with really great attachments like the purple and the tan attachments, than having a really great gun like a purple gun, an epic gun, but with green or only tier 1 attachments. Attachments are better than base weapons. That's why Weaponsmith, that allows you to swap around attachments, is in this deck, but Gun Scavenger is not in this deck, because picking up a better base weapon is not nearly as important as picking up better attachments. Breakout. People sleep on this card, but this card is amazing. This card basically gives you the ability once every 60 seconds to break out of a gotcha. So like a sleeper, which are these guys that stick on the walls, they can jump off the wall and pin you. Hawkers can spit a loogie on you and freeze you in place. This card allows you once every 60 seconds to just be a get out of jail free card. The other great thing about this card is you could get out of that same gotcha by using a taser item, but then you'd have to carry the taser in your utility item slot, and you couldn't carry a toolkit to open toolkit doors. Toolkit doors are super important, and you should always try to carry at least 1 and possibly 2 toolkits on every level, just so you can get in the toolkit doors where there is almost always a good attachment, almost always ammo, almost always a healing cabinet, all sorts of great stuff that is completely worth the cost. With this card, you never have to choose between having the taser and being able to break out of a gotcha attack versus carrying a toolkit. With this card, you can do both of those at the same time. Admin Reload. This card is one that goes really well with 2 as 1. Basically, it allows you to be firing one of your primary weapons and emptying the clip, while the one that you have stowed in the holster is reloading itself. Then, by the time you're done dumping the clip and the weapon in your hands, the one in your holster will have reloaded itself, and you can just quick swap and grab your second weapon and start emptying the magazine and killing things with that. By the time you get done emptying that magazine, usually the weapon that you holstered will have reloaded. This allows you to keep your DPS super high and just mow things down like crazy. It's a fantastic card. It has no real penalty. I cannot recommend it enough if you are also using the 2 as 1. Without 2 as 1, this card is kind of iffy, but with 2 as 1 carrying 2 primaries with large magazines, this card is amazing. Belt Clip. This just allows you to carry 2 toolkits instead of 1 toolkit. Also, the 10% use speed is a nice bonus. In almost every level in this game, having 2 toolkits and being able to open 2 toolkit doors is way better than just having 1 toolkit. And toolkits are relatively cheap, especially if you have your economy cards working well for you. Bounty Hunter. This is a fantastic economy card. This might be the best economy card in the game. Every time you kill a mutated Ridden, those are the big bad Ridden, you will gain 10 copper. And anytime anyone on your team, including a bot, kills one of those big bad boy mutation Riddens, you personally will also gain 10 copper. Up to 300 copper per level. So if you have this, and you have Hazard Pay, and you have Copper Scavenger, your economy is going to be doing really, really well. And remember, you're going to have to kill those mutation-ridden anyway, because if you don't kill them, they're going to kill you. So why not get paid for something that you have to do anyway? It's free real estate. Double Grenade Pouch. This deck, as you can probably guess from the name H.R. Killman, is meant to be used by the character Hoffman, or Howard Robert Hoffman. He starts with 1 throwable item, and by putting this double grenade pouch on, that goes up to 3. So you are kicking your ability to carry pipe bombs or grenades, or whatever it is you want to carry, up by 200%. 3 pipe bombs can be incredibly clutch in certain places in certain levels. And 3 grenades will do a heck of a lot of damage to an ogre in very, very short order. Having these extra throwables is amazing, and this 5% move speed penalty, there's a sprint mechanic in the game. If you want to nerf your 5% move speed penalty, just hold down the sprint button. Now, admittedly, you can't sprint sidestep, you can't sprint backwards, but still, the penalty is small, it's 5%, and the game gives you a way to neutralize it quite easily. Cold Brew Coffee. This has 25% weapon swap speed, which nicely neutralizes the 25% swap speed penalty from 2 as 1. In addition, it gives you a bunch of other really great bonuses, like faster reload, 25% faster aiming, 25% faster use speed, which synergizes nicely with the 10% faster use speed with Belt Clip. It's just a great card all around. It just makes everything better, and it is completely worth it to have it in the deck. Hyper-focused. I had a previous version of this deck that used Ridden Slayer to give you 20% weak spot damage, and another card to give you another 10%. I didn't like how weak that felt, only having 30% weak spot damage. Hyper-focused gives you 50% weak spot damage, and a 40% move speed penalty only while you are shooting. So if you stand still while you are shooting, this penalty is almost meaningless. This is a great card, and although it looks like it has a big penalty, the penalty isn't as big as it looks. Hellfire. This gives you plus 45% move speed while firing, which neutralizes the 40% move speed while shooting imposed by this, and ends up giving you a net plus 5% move speed while shooting. Now, there's a big movement penalty while shooting, so don't think you're going to go fast while shooting, but you will go slightly faster while shooting than you did before, and you get a 3% move speed buff even when you're not shooting. Poultice. This card is super cool because, to paraphrase Swing Point, This card turns fake pill health into real health. This game has something called trauma damage, which is like this sort of red and black stripy part of your health bar that health kits and other kinds of health that you carry cannot heal. It can only be healed by a medical cabinet that's attached to a wall. But with Poultice, you can pop a bunch of pills, the temporary health will eat up into your trauma damage, and then Poultice will take that temporary health and slowly turn it into real health, and prevents trauma damage from eating into your permanent health. It's a fantastic card, people sleep on it, but it's an unbelievably amazing way to keep yourself healthy. And here's the best part of it, when you use those pills on someone else, they get the benefit of it. They start healing their real health when you give them temporary health. So not only is it keep you healthy, it's a way to keep your bots healthy if you care about keeping the bots healthy, which with this deck, you really don't have to. Fresh Bandage. This is basically an economy card. This means that you never have to buy a med kit when you get into a safe room. If you can drag your bleeding ass into a safe room with 1% health, then you will heal 15 of your trauma and heal all the permanent health that you possibly can as soon as that safe room door closes. All the money you spend on health kits, you get to take those health kits out into the level and use them in the level where they're needed. Also, if you get into a safe room that doesn't have a medical cabinet, this is also really nice. The last card is Amped Up. When a horde is triggered, your team gains 20 health. There's a lot of things in this game that trigger hordes. Police cars you might accidentally shoot. Alarm doors that you might accidentally shoot. A reeker bursting on you and triggering a horde. All these things are normally negative things that you hate. What if, when that happened, your team just gained 20 health? Boom. It's a fantastic card. It keeps you alive. It nerfs the effect of negative things that you might accidentally do in the game. Okay, I think that's it.